Jon Stewart here makes a very compelling argument for DOGE.
But generally, those audits aren't $400 billion for Raytheon and $1.7 trillion for a plane that doesn't seem to be doing. Like, there is a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse within a system.
There are many things I disagree with Jon Stewart on. In this specific exchange, though, he's calling out something that is, regardless of where you fall in the political spectrum, is objectively unacceptable.
Good journalism uncovers corruption. And
okay, I mean, good journalism does uncover corruption,
yeah.
But I'm not sure these two things are linked. An audit is not.
But they are.
I think he is in line with reality here, which is why he's able to just decimate the defense deputy secretary.
The ability to pass an audit or the fact that the DOD has not passed an audit is not suggestive of waste, fraud, and abuse. That is completely false right there.
You're going to have to explain that one.
So what is
now
it
is a question of, it's suggestive that we don't have an accurate inventory that we can pull up of what we have where.
You don't know where the money went. You don't know what you have or where it went, when.
That is not the same as saying we can't do that because waste, fraud, and abuse has occurred.
So in my world,
yeah,
that's waste.
How is that waste?
If I give you $1 billion and you can't tell me what happened to it, that to me is wasteful. That means you are not responsible.
That is the very problem that DOGE is trying to address today.
Do you feel like these are unfair questions of somebody within a department of that size and scope? Do you feel that it's somewhat
I think
unfair?
you have a particular thing you really want to talk about and you're asking me other questions, but I don't think it's unfair to ask me about the audit.
Jon Stewart does a good job of not getting bogged down in the game that she's trying to play, which is a game of definitions, and focuses on the larger issue of incompetence.
I mean, do you understand what an audit does and the degree to which it is linked to the question that you're asking?
I believe so.
Okay, go ahead. Give me your explanation.
No, I don't mind learning. So
he does a good job of taking the position of, I'm genuinely in the pursuit of trying to find the least bad approach to this problem. If you can offer something better, I'm genuinely open to that, and that's highly effective.
Audits and waste, fraud, and abuse are not the same thing, so let's decompose these pieces.
Then please educate me on
sure.
What
so an audit
the
is
difference
exactly what you just described,
yes.
Which is, do I know what was delivered to which place?
Which we do not. We do not know where that money went. Does that indicate waste, potential fraud? Is it abuse?
So what I would suggest is that the audit that they have in the military doesn't really look at whether or not there's efficacy. It's just whether they got delivered the thing that they ordered. And
that is any audit. That is any audit. That is true.
But generally, those audits aren't $400 billion.
Even if there's not an absolute correlation between the definition of, well, that's not technically waste because it's not technically gone, we just don't know where it is.
But if you can't tell me where it went, then what am I supposed to think?
Yeah, it's indicative of incompetence and negligence.
And when there has been reporting, I mean, this is not, look, I'm not saying this is on you and that you caused this, but I think it's a tough argument to make that.
I'm pretty sure I didn't cause it.
And
yeah, he does a good job by pulling back, making clear that he's not trying to attack her specifically. He's trying to get at the underlying truth.
It's a tough argument to make that.
I'm pretty sure I didn't cause it.
an $850 billion budget to an organization that can't pass an audit and tell you where that money went, like, I think most people would consider that somewhere in the realm of waste, fraud, or abuse, because they would wonder why that money isn't well accounted for.
You should be able to do those things. The fact that you cannot do those things is an abuse of your position. And it's very difficult to contend with that because it is a noble pursuit. Anything in contrast to that, if not that very thing, will fall short.
And especially when they see food insecurity on military bases, and they see.
You want to talk about that? Because that's a good, we should be talking. I mean,
well,
I'm trying to understand where you're trying to go other than the dollars.
And when you have one person just trying to evade and debate semantics, and the other person is genuinely trying to communicate something more basic and simple, which is the pursuit of truth and a logical correlation, this is what it looks like when those two come up against each other.
I mean, we got out of 20 years of war and the Pentagon got a $50 billion raise. Like, that's shocking to me. Now, I may not understand exactly the ins and outs and the incredible magic of an audit, but I'm a human being who lives on the earth and can't figure out how $850 billion to a department means that the rank and file still have to be on food stamps. Like, to me, that's fucking corruption.
Yeah, he does a good job of keeping it simple, being like, yes, but I have two eyes and I can see what's in front of me. How could you find this to be acceptable, regardless of how you want to spin it, as though I care about just the dollars, even if it doesn't correlate with the definition of what an audit is, the words. She's trying to do this semantic game, which cannot contend with the deeper game of, is this acceptable, is this corrupt, is this in line with what is logical or not? And those two games are very different games.
I'm not looking to pick a fight with you, but I am surprised at that the reaction to these questions are, you don't know what an audit is, bucko. Like, that's just weird to me.
When did uncovering corruption suddenly become bad? Because when this clip surfaced, every predominant left-leaning YouTube channel was praising him for calling out wasteful spending and corruption.
If that blows your mind, and if you think like that's like a crazy agenda for me to have, I really think that that's institutional thinking.
And that's something that we should all be able to agree upon. So what has happened to uncovering corruption? Why are we now opposed to DOGE uncovering corruption? Well, this is before DOGE existed. It'd be interesting to see how he feels about DOGE now, given what he says in this clip. The reason this clip is so effective is because he is calling out waste blatantly.
Don't you think that that does speak to the larger point that we're trying to get at, which is good journalism uncovers corruption? And
Okay, I mean, good journalism does uncover corruption, but I'm not sure these two things are linked. An audit is not.
But they are.
It's interesting, though, why those same individuals have now lost that target. Why? Well, this was good then when Jon Stewart did it, but now that Elon Musk is doing it, it's problematic.